welcome back to Gooey Government Splatter. Today we have a very special guest, Pepe Research.
Glad to be here, Gilberto. I have been studying how current events are tied to government for 20 years now. After my wife divorced me, I became depressed and locked myself in my bedroom. But I am so happy to be here.
Okay. Anyway, so before we start, tell me about how and why you started researching this.
Well, it all started with the encouragement from my wife, because I was a jobless freeloader. I never really enjoyed it, but I did it because I loved her.
So why did she divorce you?
Too much swag.
Right. So tell me about your journey researching this.
It all started with my obsessive fascination with the Boston Tea Party. I realized that if I started drinking tea in real life, I could connect it with the things I love the most, which happens to be the government.
And how did you research this point? Or how did you reach this point in the research that you will talk about today?
I'll just be going with the flow. I haven't been the best at talking about government since the big divorce, but hit me with the first one, Gilberto.
So you gave me a list of events you wanted to talk about. So why don't we start with the Met Gala since it happened recently?
Sure. Did you see Beyonce? She was so hot. Or Doja Cat. I love Doja Cat.
Right. Does your wife know that?
It's probably one of the reasons she left. Anyways, the Met Gala might be fun and games, but it really shows the outsized influence of wealth. The ultra-rich use these spaces for elite networking. It's a simple elitist theory. We are ants, and they are the foot that steps on us.
Okay, well, what about the outfits? Is there anything cool about them?
Absolutely.
So what?
Right. The outfits worn show our First Amendment, symbolic speech, all that jazz. The outfits show ideological statements. They're walking visual social and political expressions. It's everywhere.
Like Anne Hathaway's call for peace and the everyone hates Elon protest?
Exactly. Now you get it. I was invited.
To the Met Gala? Really?
I was going to wear a giant hat to the event, but I remembered the Zendaya hat theory and decided to avoid world domination.
Okay. Wait, the Zendaya hat theory? What is that?
You wouldn't understand. Some knowledge is too powerful for the average citizen. That's why the framers created checks and balances.
I'm pretty sure James Madison did not write about Zendaya's hat.
He would have if he saw the 2026 Met Gala.
Fair enough. So overall, the Met Gala connects to the elitist theory, symbolic speech, and the First Amendment.
Exactly.
So how did you see that in this year's Met Gala?
So actually, this year it was sponsored by evil billionaire Jeff Bezos. And so many Amazon workers and activists made a resistance red carpet.
So their way of protest was through putting messages about workers' exploitation throughout the city, right?
Exactly. See, I guess your fashion sense is almost as good as mine.
Sure. So, what else did you see? Because, these are evolving forms of protest. I mean, we wouldn't exactly see this at the time of Alexander Hamilton and John Lawrence, right?
Oh yeah, when they were smooching, but we would see these protests too at the time, just not televised, goober.
Alright, moving on. Our next topic is hantavirus.
Yes, the contagious cruise ship. It's coming back. Disease, rats, and government are my three favorite things, actually.
Okay, so for the people that don't know, what do you mean is hantavirus?
Hantavirus is a deadly and contagious disease, mostly spread through rats, but there's a cruise ship infested with a strain transferable through humans.
So this is something the people should be aware of, right?
Probably not. Now ask me how it's tied to government.
Okay, so how is it tied to government? Since you want to talk about it so bad.
Public policy, my dearest Gilberto. Specifically how the government protects public health.
Oh, so like the CDC.
Exactly. These centers help monitor outbreaks and viruses that can be a danger to human health. Just like I'm the real danger.
What?
Nothing. This shows federal bureaucracy. Unelected officials are making decisions for the greater good of the people.
Oh, I see. So how does this relate to federalism? Please tell me.
Beautiful question, Gilberto. Diseases and outbreaks require states and federal governments to cooperate with one another to adjust policies. While the state would handle local health dangers and responses, the federal government would provide funding and resources.
Oh, so this is like a smoochy relationship between the states and the country, right?
Yes. See, big diseases are very easy to tie to the government. Me and my wife did a whole TV show on COVID-19 and the government before she decided I wasn't good enough anymore.
So you inform others of this news, right? But how do media outlets portray this information?
The more media coverage there is on something, the more that the people pressure government elected officials to do something about it. Citizens can pressure the government to act quicker.
Oh, like linkage institutions, right?
Yes, Gilberto, yes! Linkage institutions are structures or organizations that connect citizens to their government, just like this virus. You're so smart, Jill.
All right, goobers. Now on to the last topic of this podcast. Tomatoes.
You mean tomatoes?
No, baby. I mean tomatoes.
Well, you know what they say. Tomato, tomato, potato, potato.
Anyway, as a tomato expert myself, let me tell you a little bit about the tomato throwing contest in Spain.
Well, I'm waiting.
Right. So get this, right? This event, La Tomatina, is basically just a giant food fight with tons and tons of tomatoes.
Oh, so if you don't like someone, you can just attack them with tomatoes.
Exactly. Just what I do to you. Anyway, this started in the 1900s when the group of little scoundrels began throwing food at each other during a festival.
Those little demons.
But the people thought it was so cool that the next year they brought more vegetables to the same festival to throw them at each other.
Well, did the police not do anything?
Well, they had a dictator at the time, Francisco Franco, and he tried to ban it, but eventually the people just started protesting against it.
How? Now you got me interested.
Well, they started throwing tomatoes at government officials, and this one moved me very emotionally. But they even held a funeral procession for a tomato.
R.I.P. OG Tomato.
R.I.P. OG Tomato. I think the fans know enough about what it is. Pepe, can you tell me about how this one is related to the government?
Well, this one's a bit tough, but it's strongly connected to civil participation and political culture. Everyone wants to compete in this little contest, from what you've told me.
Tell me more.
Political culture is defined as the shared beliefs or traditions within a society. Since this is a big cultural event, this contest clearly shows some part of their political culture, especially since it includes the government directly.
So it's basically community bonding.
Perfect! I love you, Gilberto.
That makes sense to me.
Thank you. The divorce fueled my intelligence, clearly.
Okay, what about the actual government? How does that tie into this?
Governments often regulate large events for public safety purposes. There's crowd control, sanitation, permits, and emergency services, all part of public policies.
It must suck having to prepare for thousands of people to throw tomatoes at each other every year.
Nah, I could do it alone. I'm just like that. Alright. Taxpayer money at work. Beautiful thing, isn't it?
Not really. No one likes paying taxes.
Well, anyways, it's also tied to economic and tourist factors. These kind of events boost Spain's economy through tourism, which connects to economic decisions and public policy.
I didn't know a simple tomato throwing fight could affect so much in government.
I know, I'm really a genius. Never underestimate the power of produce, Gilberto.
So that wraps up all our current events for today. Today we learned that celebrities use symbolic speech at the Met Gala, diseases connected to bureaucracy and federalism, and even tomatoes can represent civic culture.
Yep, the government is everywhere, Gilberto. Fashion shows, rats, and tomatoes. It's all the government.
Alright guys, and goobers, thank you for watching today's lovely episode of Gooey Government Splatter. Pepe, do you have any final words before we end the podcast?
Yes, actually. Jessica, if you're watching this, please take me back. Please, I need this.
Alright, that's the end of the podcast. Thank you, Pepe. Thank you, goobers. I'm sorry for him, guys. I didn't know he was so weird. I guess it makes for an interesting show. If you're still watching, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my podcast. Check out my other channels while you're at it. Bye, goobers.
Gooey government. Splatter.